Yo, what's good, people? Welcome back to not another Deep Tempo episode. As you can gather by the title, guys, we are trying to sort of do our best to sort of explain a few things regarding the Dubstep Awards presented by Duploc. I think we want to just let people know why we got involved this year, try our best to sort of explain some of the rules as we have understood them, and also just discuss like some of the nominees this year, some of what I think has been some misconceptions online.
Definitely do.
First up though, I suppose we wanted to start with that sort of why we got involved. And to be honest, man, I don't even know if we've got different reasons as to why we both said yes, because I don't think either of us thought for a minute it would be a controversial or bad thing for us to get involved.
Nah.
With.
I see the Dubstep Awards hosted by Duploc. I see them as just a bit of fun at the end of the year. If we got asked by Peter, obviously we worked with Peter throughout the year. We love what he does. We love his platform. So we thought, why not just get involved as a partner?
Yeah, why not? We had to be invited by the other partners.
Yeah. So we were voted in.
Yeah, there's a diplomatic system to it. But yeah, man, like from my perspective, getting involved in the Duploc Awards was just kind of a little bit of an extension of what we do anyway.
Of course.
We never started Deep Tempo with a master plan. You know, there was no like strategicness, or it was straight up out of, we have dubstep conversations in the pub all the time. Let's just put a camera on and see what happens. Kind of bored, fill some time.
We kind of talk on the show already about who's had a good year, what releases the best. So it's kind of bringing that all together at the end of the year, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I said, we didn't start this with a master plan, but I've just kind of discovered sort of everything we do with the podcast, and I suppose in more recent times with the pull-up blog. It's just we found it's been a good excuse for whether it's artists or labels to shout about what they've done recently again. So yeah, I just seen it as an extension of that, man. Like I said, all a bit of fun, a sort of a reflection and celebration of the year we've just had, man. And 2020 has been a weird one.
Yeah, well, so, yeah.
Let's face it. Yeah. And so the Duploc Awards, Dubstep Awards have been slightly different this year. Some categories have been dropped because we haven't had events in terms of like what you like. There's no getting around it. That's the whole point of, you know, us having these kind of awards. There's no escaping it. It's a subjective matter. We have our personal favourites. We don't agree always on what our favourite tunes are, you know, the kind of vibes we love, the styles we like. But, you know, as we try to do on the podcast, try and cover all bases. I think what Duploc have tried to do with the Dubstep Awards is they've tried to achieve that too. You know, spread the love all around, and that is where we will get into some of the rules and explain why some categories work in a certain way, and might help people understand why some selections have been made and why some others haven't. Yeah. So, bruv, let's talk a little bit about how it works in terms of us as partners. Of course, there's ourselves. Duploc are a partner, the main one, the presenting one. That's why they're on the front end. But there's many more, and these are the guys, as we mentioned, who voted us in. So who else was involved, bruv?
Juno Download. Yeah. Unearthed Sounds. The Real Dubstep Reddit page. Yeah. Dubstep Forum, Beatport, Honey and Bass, and then ourselves.
I think there was a bit of confusion on this online as to thinking it was it's literally just Peter at Duploc selecting all of these, but it's not.
It's really not.
It's not. He has tried his best to get as many people from the community involved as possible. So I suppose if you don't like some of the selections, then you have us as a community, all those partners to blame. Yeah. Which is fine. Like I said, it's a highly subjective matter. That's all there is to it. And we'll explain a little bit about how it works. So each of us had to select around 10. Yeah. Around about 10 for each category. We even had a phone conversation with Peter going through category by category.
Which he does with every partner.
And then, you spent like all of Sunday back and forth with him on WhatsApp because I could see the chat.
I was trying to push some in basically.
But that was kind of the point. So we all selected around 10.
Yeah, we'll say 10.
It might be in some categories it might have been a bit more because we would struggle to trim it down, or there might be somewhere we struggle to reach 10 that we would really truly push for to be voted for it. After we did that initial phase, it was Peter's job to sort of work out who all the top voters were, who the most consistent ones voted, and sort of essentially pen them into the categories who would be nominated. For anyone who's like, I say, massively disappointed in the selection, and I would just say, if you're interested in getting involved somehow, if you're part of like a clique or a community within the scene, then I don't see why you wouldn't want to get involved, or do get involved. You know, if it's something you're bothered about.
Yeah,
we know awards in like an underground genre. That's the one aspect of it. We know it's a weird concept.
Yeah,
it's a weird thing,
we understand some people's points of view on that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, it is an underground scene. It's not the BAFTAs.
No. It doesn't sit completely right with ourselves. Like, like it doesn't. But then,
but it's how you take it.
Yeah, it is how you take it.
You know,
seriously.
We're not going up on stage, getting our medals and our trophies,
giving speeches.
It is literally a celebration. I try and celebrate as many people as we can in the scene.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Exactly. So I just got to say big up to all the other partners, all of you who spent time doing this.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned this. If we are to be involved in future ones, I think we'd be better prepared. Because even ourselves, like, sitting down that Saturday and going over like the whole year's worth of releases, like all the tunes, working out what was like just a Bandcamp exclusive, what came out on all platforms. Man, that was tough. Like, there was some stuff once all the partners voted and they got aggregated, and there was like sort of like the top ones and those just missing out and stuff. There were some ones that we had forgotten about.
Yeah.
And that was the beauty of there being so many partners, that we were like, oh my God, how did we not vote for that?
Yeah.
How did we that absolutely has to be in there.
Yeah.
Crazy trying to go through all of Recordbox, trying to work out all the releases that there's been. It was effort, man. I can only imagine, for all the partners.
Yeah, and Peter especially.
Yeah.
Last thing you got to understand is he has put in a lot of time.
The time on top of that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
He isn't just like plucking any name and going, put that in.
It is, the point of the awards is to celebrate the scene whole wide and try to spread the love as much as possible. You know, like I said, it's not the BAFTAs where, like, you know, or, you know, any of these competitions where like one film goes away with like best dress, best soundtrack, best actor. You know, when it's something like that just cleans up the whole night. That's not the point of the awards. So there's been some sort of rules set in place which made all of us as partners push for certain things in different categories depending on how we felt about them. So you couldn't have two like EPs from the same label in best release of the year, best EP of the year.
Yeah,
it's one of the rules you can't have. So if there was two tightly contested ones, you know, it's like two Medi ones, two Article, two Fat Kid on Fire, whatever, they both can't go in.
Yeah.
If something was in, how was it, best EP, it couldn't then be in best track of the year. So if there was a release with a really big track, we as partners, we had to decide, do we think the EP as a whole was was that the bigger aspect, or was it a tune, you know, the A track or one of the tunes on there, typically the A track, was it more about that, or was it about the project as a whole that was the biggest aspect of that? So that would kind of then decide who sat in those. There's also, there couldn't be two, not just two from a label, there also couldn't be two artists.
Yeah. Another example would be Headland. He had the great System one. He had that one on Inner Mind.
Yes.
Obviously, only one could go in, but Garbo from that went on to Best Track.
Yeah.
But then his Inner Mind went on Best EP.
Yes. You know, when we say only one could be represented from a label or a artist, there were ones that, you know, for ourselves we were disappointed to see not get in for a particular label or for an artist.
Yeah,
you know?
Like, we didn't get our own way on everything.
No,
our list probably is a lot different to the full package.
Oh, for sure, yeah. No, definitely is. Obviously, there is some aspect of it on there.
Yeah, of course.
With some of the tunes and the EPs, it was like how much you heard it on live streams, you know, because they're the ones our fellow DJs, our fellow artists were drawing for on all the live streams. So a lot of it, I think you can certainly see with the releases, songs and EPs was I suppose how iconic they were. I think there was quite a few releases on vinyl only or small runs of prints that we would consider some of our favourite tunes of the year, absolutely massive, but they didn't make it in, or they wouldn't make it in because not enough people had it in their hands. That not everyone was blessed to be emailed the digis to promo it for that label or that artist. So we had a lot of them, and I know there's a couple in particular that you were like voting for or would love to push. Chances are that all the partners were given, like, got that tune or seen it. If only 30 copies were gone or 50, whatever it was, they were just naturally going to struggle to get in. Whereas if someone was on Digi and on 500 presses and sold out and was super hyped, so. I think if we know we're going to be a part of it next year,
they go to that,
like making the sort of notes that are relevant for these on a sort of month by month basis, or even on a bi-weekly basis, because that's what we bi-weekly on the show, making notes around what you think you hype for the year, then that will help us keep track of that easier, and we won't have to do it all so so hard. Like, it won't be as hardcore sitting a whole Saturday trying to work everything out.
Because it is about like what you see as well. Like, are you active? Like, for us, are we active online? Or, like, do we see every release? Because there's going to be releases out there what me and you have never even heard of, which is amazing.
Which is ridiculous considering how much.
And there was on there. I was like, that's, when we had that list at the end, I had to like search. Like, we had the list of like 10. I don't even know what that is. I had to go through it, and then he was like, ask, would you cut any of these out? I had to go listen to the EPs, and I was like, no, that's fucking banging.
So next, bro.
Yeah.
I think if we're going to go through category by category. We're going to try and explain what that category means. If there's any confusion there, I think a lot of them it's self-explanatory, but I do think there's been some misconceptions online as to what some category means, and particularly this first one that we'll start with. And that first one is Best Breakthrough Producer.
This is the thing, and the misconception is breakthrough means new. It don't mean new. It means you broke through this year and had a fucking banging year. And plus you haven't been on a previous year. So, for example, Colt Cuts won last year. He can't be on this year. Even if he had an even better year. That's just how it works.
I think, that was our understanding of it, was that it's about, doesn't matter how long they've been producing for, it's about the year they've had, how much, how active they've been in previous years. I think even Breakthroughs looked at who's been on lineups for big events as well, as not just the music and sign up, but
bookings,
online streams has been like the main way of looking at that this year. Those who got on the list: 11th Hour, Beats for Beaches, Fiend, Hypho, Maze, Monk, Oddcut, Sabab, Tefa, Woven Thorns, Yuffie. In terms of those names there, I think in terms of what, like, one of the misconceptions, or I suppose comments that we've seen online, was about Hypho and Tefa being on it, bro. But I know you had a conversation with Hypho about this.
I messaged.
I know we feel strongly about the year that Tefa's had and being listed on this one, in this category specifically. We know he's been making beats for fucking ever, and particularly, he has been focused on dubstep. Tefa, I believe I'll mention this to Duploc. You can find some of your original comments in like the Dubstep Forum production Bible group from like 2009 on there. I don't 10 plus years making music, but look at the year he's had. Look at the signings, man.
We mentioned earlier before about his Discogs. It's obviously their vinyl releases, but
just for 2020.
2020 is just like basically the same amount as his previous years, all in one year.
Yeah, basically.
It's mad. So that's why for us. He's been making music for shitloads of years. But this year, more people have become more aware of him.
Oh, for sure.
This year.
Definitely. So just a monster year. Absolutely monster year. And it feels like there's even more out there that's not listed on there. It feels with Tefa, he's just battered us with tunes. In the best possible way. And it's not just about the quantity. It is about the quality. We raved about these tunes. That's why he needs to be on there. But in terms of the hi-fi aspect of it, I know you spoke to him. You had a little chat with him. And what was he saying?
I think people said about hi-fi. Obviously, he's been doing it for years. We're all aware he's been doing it for years. But he's only been as a producer, yeah. But dubstep, a year and a half. He's been making 130 beats in that dubstep sound. So it is. I think that's the thing. People are getting a bit confused. But as a dubstep producer, in my opinion, and we built him on this list, is he broke through in dubstep this year. I've heard of Hi-Fi's name throughout previous years, but I've never really looked at his music because he made that 130 stuff. I've never really touched it. And then Wordner from Rugby mentioned Hi-Fi to me. And that's how I discovered him. And this was this year. So I guess that's is it just me that I've only discovered this year? But I think a lot of people have in dubstep, and that's why we think he deserves to be on this list
for sure. People nominated this year for best breakthrough for me. Some of them are just the highlight standout names, ones that I suppose immediately come to my mind when I thought of it. And a lot of it is to do with the tunes we've received in the inbox, the sheer amount of it, not just by themselves but by labels. I
think we featured every single one of them this year.
There's not one on the list we haven't. They all deserve, in my mind, they all deserve to be on there. Sabab's been one of my favourites.
I know,
Raved
Odd
for ages.
Odd Cut for me, latter stage of this year for sure has just been mad.
The latter stage of this year, Odd Cut's taken full on piss. Yeah, that was best breakthrough. In a nutshell. Let us know who your best breakthrough is. With all these categories as we go along, guys, comment down below. Best EP release.
I mean, this is like we said. It's hard.
I think this was the hardest category in the entire awards.
For sure, mate.
I think for anyone to even agree on this one is far too hard.
No.
With the awkwardness, it comes with the nature of us wanting to spread the love across as much of the scene as possible. That you can't have two from the same label. You can't have two from one artist, and so. There are nominations here in the final list of things where, all of these EPs, let's face it, they're sick. They've got an absolute vibe. There's tracks on there that are big, but I might not agree with a certain label selection, And there's a couple labels there that just had monster years that, we'll get into when we talk about label of the year. That no wonder that it was so hard for us to agree on what the top EP was from that label in order for it to represent here on the best EP list. Ridiculously hard.
So basically, in terms of the best EP, it's the best EP as a whole, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than just that's on there because of that track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. So you can't have both on. None of these nominated ones here on best EP can be none of the tracks can be nominated on
the original track. Yeah.
So is it the EP as a whole or the a track on there that was really iconic about the release? What was more iconic, I guess?
And actually looking down that list, when you do look at it, just for example, Alex Perez, Ravana EP, that one did bang. And everyone loved Ravana because it was going off in the clubs at the beginning of the year. But then everyone loved Lifeline in the end, didn't they?
But for me, the totality of that EP, all the tracks, is bigger than any individual one. But Lifeline was my favourite.
The Green King one, this is probably the only exception with the old 30 cut thing.
Yeah.
Because this was a 30 cut, and I, to be honest, guys, I'll be honest, I know you're not a massive fan of the Duploc Awards, the Dubstep Awards, but I kind of pushed that one to go in.
Yeah,
because I haven't got it. It was only 30 copies, but I was waiting for that on SoundCloud, man. Yeah. And the two tracks on that are just fucking brilliant. And there's so many, the article. There could have been about 4 on article that should be in there.
Yeah, no, my favourite article isn't Mystic State Tom.
No,
as sick as that is.
Yeah,
there you go.
That is sick.
I will divulge that information. But that's the thing. You can't. You're not sitting there saying and knocking that release at all. It's so good. Article had a monster year. But comment down below. Let us know what was your favourite release. Your favourite EP as a whole, not track. And who did you vote for out of these potentially?
Yeah,
let us know. Best album release. In previous years, it's been best album / VA. Peter kind of decided that they should be separated, and I think most of the partners agree because there was that many.
I think that's fair.
But as for albums, Bro, this is one of the ones, I'm not even going to admit which ones it was, man, but this was one of the ones where we were like, fuck, how did we forget that, man? How on earth did we forget? There's some incredible albums, man. I think shout out to all these guys, because an album's such a big project. I always get excited when we have one to release. Just, I like to listen to them through in the order they're made. But yeah, Abstract Science, Bengal Sounds, Demure.
A lot of people love Bengal Sound one. That was very popular.
Big time. The artwork for it was so sick as well.
Yeah. Also the Sepia one, another one that was...
Mad.
Was that a Bandcamp?
Yes, it was self-released through Bandcamp.
And everyone was sort of surprised with that. It was just like, wow, Sepia album, and it was just boom.
Perfect time to put out the ambient vibes.
I mean, there's not many rules to this, really. It was best album. So
they thought we did.
I'm sure there's some on there we don't. Yeah,
he needs to put 7 after his name.
Yeah, he should. Eddie 7, really. That was brilliant. We featured that. I still play those tracks,
Couple tracks in
Yeah. Eddie 7, that's a sick one.
I don't think there's any albums that were... They were really forgotten about, maybe? No.
That we can think of.
I think if they were missed, then just have to say apologise from a partner perspective, man. Let us know if there were. That's one area I haven't seen any conversations online. Best VA compilation releases of 2020. Monster year for VAs, I think.
Brilliant. There is, we'll start off the DDD trilogy. You got it? You bought that?
Yeah,
on vinyl, because it was a free separate vinyl.
Yeah.
Deep, Dark and Dangerous.
We just mentioned him, Sepia's Voodoo.
There's a good example. That track realistically should have been on the best track. Original track.
I would have said so.
But it obviously was in this. But I think that this, because it's in this, it's probably not. Is that a rule?
I don't know if it's a rule, but it might have just got weighted that way.
Yeah.
On the chill side of tracks, there's been a few of them. The other one that kind of missed for me was Mr. K's White Peach one, No Vague.
Yeah,
at the start of the year. That EP and that track in particular for me. But yeah, no, the recency bias stuff. I think there was a bit of a worry that, all the tunes and the projects that are fresh in your mind are the ones that obviously you're going to focus on. So remembering those ones as far back as not just January, but actually December last year. And obviously this December is missing out. A lot of these projects that have just dropped now. Talking of VA, Century have just dropped one.
Yeah.
You would hope and expect that's been a monster project.
And then albums, that would be next year. Ever.
Yeah, Evo 808, yeah.
And then, of course, Bessie P, Conzi.
But yeah, some of the other VAs that are in Fat Kid on Fire, celebrating 10 years, man. Judge of Living went out on that by Maze. That's a sick track that Will picked up once he's seen our... Was that one of our first dub specials, or was it just in a show? I think it was in a show.
Just in a show?
Yeah. Yeah, Duploc War Dubs.
Locust Sound.
The Locust one, jeez, man. I mean, Yuffie's on there, who's in Best Breakthrough, of course, getting love on that.
Yeah.
For the Heads always do it. I don't think there's any that you would push to go in there, maybe.
No,
that would miss. It's not about, again, we have to remember, it's not about listing everything. So you have to ask yourself about the partners and who they pushed for, Best released original track 2020. We obviously we're bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, a little bit.
A difficult one. There's going to be ones there people don't agree with.
Yeah.
Your favourites missing out, or even the artist. Track is on. A track from the artist's EP that's got your favourite on is on there, but not your particular one. Again, I think there's a few in here. There's at least there's a good number in here that you just can't argue with being in. In terms of their social response, people reacting to it. You have to start off with the Sub Basics Walk and Skank Lion Charge Rhythm. That was the massive tune that went off in Sicaria Sounds. Boiler Room, and then the vinyl sold out 5 times over on all the shops, and God knows how many pressed to that. You just can't argue with that. The interesting, I say one odd challenge, the Okshosi, the White Rabbit one. The only one I was like, is it dubstep? I wasn't sure. I've got the vinyl. I didn't actually buy it as I love Okshosi's really out there sort of. I mean, what else would you categorize it? That's when you just, what are genres, who cares at the end of the day? Dubstep doesn't have to be 140 at the end of the day. But we all know we're there or thereabouts for the most part. what about you in terms of best tunes of the year? Like, were you happy with it? I mean, overall, were you happy with it? Like,
there was some on this list. If I know it's bad, but there was some on this list I had to really research again.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck, because what we got a list of a lot more than this, and they were like, oh, if you had to take out 4, what would you take out? Oh, I went down them all. And there was someone there, I was like, I can't take that out, I can't take that out, I can't take that. Like, I've just heard them for the first time. But I mean, like I said, the Teffer one was, but it's not on it, it can't be on it. But they're putting Teffer and Moss Advance. Such a sick track as well.
Yeah, that
Such a sick track. As for the best for me, it probably, to be honest, the best track for me probably isn't even on here. Like, if I'm going back to podcasts and ones that have really made me excited, they're probably not on here.
No.
But we're trying to do this a generalisation for everyone, not just Cutter's silly reactions on the podcast.
Yeah. And some of it, like we went off in terms of like the best original track was like social reaction. You see our clips go out all the time on social. We can tell which is getting the best response, like how stuff is going to sound. We see the stats, we see how people react to it, how many people share our stuff. Like, even though we don't know who it is and where it's gone to, we've seen how many shares. We're like, how many people's DMs is that stupid video of these two clowns fucking gun fingering to it on? Yeah, it like has ended up, it's like, oh, check this track out, or people tagging their mates in it. We it's easy for us to see the biggest reaction to that. So some of that played into what we believe, were the biggest tracks of the year. Yeah. And again, not everything that we would have wanted was in this. No. That's what it comes down to. It's a diplomatic.
Yeah. If I had to pick out that list, going by my mixes and what I played, Headland Garbo's up there for me.
Yeah.
I heard it live, luckily, before last year in Bristol.
Yeah.
The Von D Cheslick, just people who get the deep MIDI releases. We had little conversations because like we said before, like the MIDI releases at that time, there was no name. So there was just Cheslick. We were trying to figure out who is this? Yeah. It was Von D in the end.
Yeah.
That was a great tune. There's a track on here that you were very happy to see, which is the Rack J Logan.
Yeah, absolutely buzzing to see that one on here. Came out on Crucial. Like we mentioned it at the time, one of my favourite tracks I've heard Logan spit on, just in terms of style, just how well it fits his style. I thought, like Logan's done a lot of sick tracks, man, and worked with a lot of sick producers, but something just clicked there with him and Rack J that I thought, that move from We track has to go on there. But let us know your favourite tracks of the original tracks of the year. Let us know which ones missed out. Comment down below which you think missed out. Which of these ones would you have picked a different one from that EP? All that. It was difficult. Like we said, that this is the joint feelings, from all the band that's coming out. So next up was best released remix. As we kind of explained with the rules, you had to kind of it was to balance it against the other categories. Again, you didn't want just a load of the best EPs and best original tracks, the tracks related to those in there. But it was a chance for some other names to pop up, that just did a killer job on the remix. And I think there are some artists out there who just see how don't know what the word is, just how prevalent they are across, I guess, all the projects, remixing and stuff. Just some people just got a knack for it, do a sick job at remixing stuff. They take tracks and they make them their own and different, but still pay homage to the original. They don't, they don't butcher it. Before we get into any of them individually, when we said this at the time, massive shout out for Sim taking on the Diesel Not Petrol remix. I mean, he was shitting it. There was the whole meltdown to do with mixing the snare that the boys put up on the socials, and everyone was just just wetting their pants.
Was it a WhatsApp?
Yeah, it was he was basically having a conversation with himself, because obviously man was asleep. Sure was asleep, and he's having a mental breakdown at 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning. I don't know if you got any sleep. Bless you, bro, man. And
to come with such an amazing remix.
Yeah, it's sick.
I'd probably vote for that
because it gives like I said, it keeps the homage to the original track. It pays it so well. You still just got the signature sound within it, and it's just how he's arranged it and just mixed it and made it his own. Killer job. But there are a lot of other worthy nominations here, man.
Chrome Star one for me as well. We featured
of Degar Sound.
we featured that on the podcast,
Yeah,
and it was kind of like
monster.
it was kind of like a first reaction, I believe, on that for me.
For you, yeah.
And I was like,
that was it. I found the obviously low dubs.
yeah,
Classic low dubs,
it's
man.
a low dubs thing.
Love the label and Degas Sounds.
And yeah, hearing that's fat. There is, I'm gonna be honest, there's someone there that I can't remember or have even heard.
Yeah,
if I'm honest.
but
I'll go. This is the thing. This is what I really love about this, like the Duploc Awards is, like now you've got these lists. You go back and have a look.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know that one. I'll go have a look at that.
I missed on that. Yeah, let us know which releases, what tracks, what releases did you sleep on and have rediscovered because of the awards, and been glad you didn't miss out on copped. Did you manage to score the vinyl for it, or just cop the digis, whatever? Let us know. Next up,
okay, this one,
the strangest or weirdest category.
And probably the one we've seen online from people saying, "Oh, don't really get it."
The most
controversial.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for the culture, it doesn't really make sense, does it? So, SoundCloud, dubplate as such, but
doesn't make.
It's a very hard. Like we struggle to put any in this.
Yeah, I think it might have just not even got as much like sort of commentary or hates the word, but just sort of bafflement if it didn't use the word dubplate.
Yeah,
just was like best unreleased on SoundCloud, or this is the one I struggled with the most. This is the one I didn't. You know, there's a number of these I missed. You know, I wouldn't know the track name of them, but I'd say 75%, maybe more actually. Now I'm looking down it, I would recognise. I would have heard it in a mix, and probably for the most. What is that? But SoundCloud is just a black hole. Like in terms of us spending the Saturday sitting down and trying to remember these ones, an impossible task. 90s Snake Kiss VIP is the one that stands out because we featured it.
Yeah, and
as
it's got a mad reaction.
Mad reaction.
And there's one thing I would say that's good about this category is the fact that now people who have gone on the list and seen it can now look at these unreleased tracks and be like, maybe I can sign this one.
Yeah.
There's one I'd put on there, I might as well say it, it's the Cloudmen one.
Did it go up this year?
It went on the clip this year. It was a radio rip. I mean, it probably was made like 2 years ago, but on SoundCloud it's a year.
But yeah, that's best SoundCloud dubplate. A weird category. But again, a bit of fun, man. One of the most prestigious ones, if you like. Let's face it, anyone who's been nominated for this one, or would have hoped to have been nominated, you would like this one, I think, as a label. When you look at a lot of these labels' output on best record label of the year, you just, regardless of who wins it, who comes top, whatever, you just got to put maximum respect on their names for carry on pushing the sound this year, particularly, man, when there's been no events. A lot of it is just like love and passion for the music in it. Similar, for ourselves, and the whole reason Deep Tempo's even got to where it is with our silly little name that was meant to be a night and became a podcast. These guys here, I imagine a lot of these started it with not, as grander plans of what they've reached. Best record label cutter.
We know what you're going to say first.
Article.
Yeah, for sure.
Have to say Article.
They've been sick.
Of course, Article's consistent, like one of the many labels that comes on a monthly basis. The quality at which Kendra's been putting out is been insane. They started up the digital platform only this year as an additional thing, which I think was just another, Article doing another thing for up and coming producers. That's
the good thing. It's bringing those up and comers in as well. It's really escalated that label to be one of the best in the scene right now. And you gotta say it, man. Deep, Dark and Dangerous. They have always so consistent, such great releases. The artwork for me is impeccable every time.
Insane.
And they always with Deep, Dark and Dangerous as well, 4 tracks it's always 4 tracks of sick tunes, man. They know, Truth know. They know their music. I mean,
it doesn't count towards being the best record label, but I just have to give a shout out while we're here to the Truth Boys in terms of what they did with the quarantine streams.
Of course.
I mean, they kept, especially Lockdown 1, I have to say, they kept a lot of people still going, a lot of entertainment, a lot of hope, just like the interactions in the chat.
I mean, you got to shout Medi out again as well. This year have really come with it.
Yeah.
Because they weren't on last year's. They weren't nominated last year.
Didn't put out much last year.
They weren't put out. No.
Steph has helped Mala out a lot in terms of getting these releases out this year, being consistent. if you don't know who Steph is, then you need to go look up Fat Kid on Fire's did an interview
blog thing on really his website.
Really good written blog, an interview, I guess, with Steph, and they got into all of that, who she is specifically. Other comments, about Medi as a label, what people come to expect of and we touched on this briefly, like people just expect those usual names, but they have come with a lot of new names, I think, and they are coming with more new names. I'm really looking forward to Medi's 2021 year for show. Duploc, people commented on them being on their own awards that they're presenting. Remember, again, not selected by Duploc. He does have kind of final say, but many of us in the
how can he not be on it?
Like the year he's had, we said, I do not know how Peter got all the projects out that he did this year. All the work he did is just insane. The Selects project, the War Dubs, and all the singles, and
he's had another label, which we'll get onto later on. One Forte.
Yes, I know, one that you push for. I think not a lot in terms of releases, a couple this year, but I think if you're just talking about label presence in the scene, I just think they had to be there on the list. You can't argue for them in terms of a quantity stature, but I think all the work they do around their releases and how much work they put into the promotion, the branding, and the artwork, everything.
And they sell out in like 2 minutes. It's like, they gotta be on there. I love them, man. I think they're a sick label, sick brand. Sure. Infernal Sounds, actually, I've always got to give a shout out to Infernal Sounds. Because they're a consistently fucking sick label. And I mentioned this before on the podcast, before Beat Tempo, I used to buy the vinyls. This is just to get the digitals.
Because you don't have
because at that point, I don't have Tenix, and at that point they weren't doing digital.
No,
it was just like you get them
when you buy and play. And I think there are potentially there are ones out there people would argue for. You would say they should be on there. They have to be on there. But I think that you wouldn't say any. I don't think there's anyone on here that you could say shouldn't be on there. We said this in Fat Kid on Fire in terms of totality. One celebrating year 10, but in terms of just purely bringing new names to the table. Like putting a load of up and coming producers on a pedestal, like incredible year in that aspect for Fat Kid on Fire.
Fucking madness.
Big up Will. Comment down below. Is there a label that you thought absolutely should have been on there? Again, can't list everybody. Best new record label cutter. Do you know what? I didn't expect the list for new record labels to be this long when we first started this category.
We had about 4, didn't we? Really trying to think, who's new? And we were at the point we were doing that. We weren't really aware it was last 2 years, really.
Yeah, no, we didn't know the whole rules around this. So for best new record label, you need to be maximum 2 years old, which I think is a nice grace period. There's even now there's some who started very late this year and you had 1 or 2 releases out. I just couldn't argue with it, man. I've loved some of these new labels coming through. We've featured pretty much all of them, I believe. And as for best new, I think when you've got such a small sample size, it's kind of it's difficult to choose, but you maybe just go with the ones that you were most excited by, you bought.
For me, if I'm gonna say one, Photo Sounds.
I
love Photo Sound stuff this year.
Big time.
Sick.
Their releases have been fully sick, man.
Frozen Plates as well. Fucking hell, brilliant label.
Basscraft, I wondered whether they just go into next year. Obviously, Duploc's new label.
Started really strong in there.
Started incredibly strong, like those first few projects. So you cut cross from Sicario Sound Girls, big up. Still wondering what's up for them. They've been a little bit quiet since they ended the Rinse show this year. I'm sure they've got some big plans for 2021. It's just exciting to see that new labels have even started. Still even in this year, people have found the time to bring, start new labels up and bring us just some sick music. I'm excited to see how all of these grow. If you feel strongly about the best new label of the year, then you let us know. Let us know in the comments. Best radio show podcast. This one's a difficult one again as well. I think it's highly. There's some that are obvious. I think a lot of the names that are in there, a lot of the big categories, but I think it's difficult. It's like, which ones do you lock into regularly?
That's
highly
what it
opinionated, and that might be based on the time they air, if you only listen to stuff live or do you listen to it back. Like
It's who you listen to regularly.
Yeah.
That's kind of how you got to judge it.
Yeah, big time.
Who you watch.
And a lot of I think a lot of this is, you know, it is lent towards a lot of the bigger names. I think a challenge. It depends on, you know, on all the partners. I don't know how much other partners listen to mixes and radio shows and podcasts. How much time do you have to invest? Because a lot of the stuff, you know, everyone does here. It's, you know, somewhere an hour, 2 hours.
And surprisingly, I don't listen to our podcast. So
no, I don't.
In the gym, imagine that in the gym. I'm like, I just like listen to my own voice.
No,
fuck that.
Can't listen to our
meat.
Voice.
No,
we did make the list for it, which was buzzing to see, and thank you to the other partners for nominating us, guess.
Yeah, we were nominated in. We didn't just go, we're in. That's it.
Yeah, I would expect this year, people would agree this year's been better than last year when we're only 6 months into it when we got on last year, that's probably why we were even more surprised last year.
Yeah, we were very surprised. I remember clicking it, I was just voting and we were on it. I was like, oh. Yeah. Sick, man.
We kind of just said it like in the podcast at the time, like seeing our names like alongside, you know, a lot of the names that are here, just kind of just baffling, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of the DJs and producers that are on the list, like been listening to their music for so long, just never said we didn't start this with any grand plan, people.
No.
And it's just all a bit of fun. So if I'm only going to mention one and just like to highlight, I suppose I will just say this. I was really happy to see Nova Radio on there. I suppose, as you know, maybe not a household name, quite a new show. There maybe like 6 or 7 in one I've regularly listened to because big up MIDI, you pushed that through to me, bro. And Novo has recently started up as a label. I think they've only had one release, so I'd expect them to be on maybe make it to best new label next year. Should they? If they put 2 or 3 releases next year, that'd be awesome to see because they're going down the vinyl route. Let us know your favorite radio show of the year /podcast. Who wasn't on there that you thought should have been on there? Best Bandcamp exclusive release. Another one of the toughest categories for me to even work out, like for us I should say, because we didn't sit down together. It
was very, very difficult. I mean, what we kind of did with this is go through the list we first made on the first Bandcamp day on our website, if you remember.
Yeah, that was like our starting point.
And we went down there, picked a couple out. Like, for example, Cartridges ones was amazing. He had the 001 then. For me, the 002 was his best for me. And it did get in, which was amazing to see.
Yeah.
Quizma. Fuck me, I love that one. The Quizma.
The latest Archive
Volume 2.
Yeah,
but
we featured Blue Planet.
Yeah, and that got such a great reaction. You know, when Peter asked, like, why would this one go in? Some people might not know it. I just sent him the clip we put on our social media and the reaction it got just from that one track. I was like,
it's got to go in.
That's why, man. That's why.
But that's that was his question for most of that were like borderline. I think that's why it's one of the biggest categories in terms of nominations because of how much went out on Bandcamp.
Yeah, for sure.
But when it comes to choosing for this category, I couldn't even remember like what was just like all the stuff that was just a Bandcamp exclusive. Like, did it end up on other platforms? It was really, really tough working that out. And I think of all the categories, this is the one where a lot of people will be like, how did that not make it? I think this category is the toughest because, you know, like I said, if we'd known at the start of the year that we were going to be involved, you would probably I would hope that we would be smart enough to try and track this kind of thing. Let us know again, guys, like who you think. Like, there's some sick ones on here, man. Ones that I thoroughly really enjoyed. The Enigma dubs.
Of course.
The Eyes VIP and the Left Behind VIP, of course, we featured. Next and final category. Final category was best music video.
Some people were surprised to see this in because dubstep doesn't have music videos, but it does. It does have it.
Yeah.
And there are some on there that I have no idea about. There are some on there that I really did enjoy and have seen, and definitely recommended to Dubloc to put in. For example, Vandal. I really love Vandal's music videos. I think he's one very consistent with it.
Yeah, he is.
And I feel like he deserves to be in there.
The Shook Knight Pavan Doom track, man. That was like one of the most epic music videos.
Yeah, that
was like some MTV shit.
Yeah, that was good.
Like full on. I don't know where they filmed all of that. It'd be good to like see some behind the scenes footage.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. The Nashville one were really good to see in there. That was Photo Sounds tune, wasn't it?
Yeah, with Grizzo, Bunker, sick track. I think all the ones, especially where there's like MCs, like because of that, they bring that grime influence over, and it's prevalent. Like grime, like having music videos in grime is perfectly natural, or more natural, I should say, than normal. So, we don't expect it so much.
For sure.
In our scene. But
it's nice to get some names in there, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and just to be like considered and be thought about. You know, like everyone put effort into these visuals.
Yeah.
Same way. Do you know what? There probably should have been a best artwork category. Maybe we should suggest that for next year. What do you think of that? I've just thought of that now.
That's good. Yeah.
Best artwork EP, and that way we can highlight the illustrators and designers who are like really prevalent in the community. That would be.
That's a good idea.
As a designer, I should push for that shit.
Yeah,
and suggest it. That's the awards in a nutshell, Cutter.
That's the categories.
We hope you got everything. You know, maybe you understood a little bit more.
Hopefully.
About the awards, how they work, why we got involved. Just generally a chance to just celebrate and shout about some of the great things that have happened this year again. All the links to the Dubstep Awards, if you've only just somehow realised they're a thing, then they're posted in the description below. The links will be there. But other than that, I don't think there's anything to say, man. Just let us know on those ones you think missed out. You know, which ones you'd love to have seen in there. Be interesting to see if you've got anything. I guess any ideas on how the awards could be improved.
Yeah,
because we'll feed this back to Peter. We will, man. Got a couple of ideas of our own, which we kind of spoke about here, but bit of fun.
It is just a bit of fun. Don't take it too seriously, guys.
Nah.
Don't have arguments on Tinternet over it. It's not worth it. It just ain't worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going to be disappointed, but it's just a bit of fun.
Yeah, bit of fun, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a year it's been. We mentioned it, but big up to everyone, all the artists, all the labels, whether nominated or not in the Dubstep Awards, man. Whatever you've done to find inspiration to put out music this year, I think, when there's not been sets and all that stuff, it's just, it's massive, it's huge. Whether you made 2 tracks or, put out 2 tracks or 50 tracks, it don't matter. Whatever you managed to do in 2020, I think is all wins, are big or small, warrant celebration. So big up. We'll see you in 2021.
Yeah, we will indeed, mate. 2021, can you believe it, lad?
Yeah, hopefully next year we'll be able to see y'all, skank with y'all. Yes, it's gonna be. I'm really looking forward to next year, and congrats to everyone who wins the awards in categories. The voting ends on the 23rd, so like I said, links down there if you want to go vote. Big up Peter at Duploc.
Yeah, big up Peter, work. The hard work.
Big up
deserves credit.
The partners. Big up all of y'all. And we look forward to working with you all as a community 2021.
Yes.
Peace out.